YouTube, bro. Every PC build tier explained. Y'all know my PC is ass, chat, so we not even finna act like this is like, you know what I'm saying? But we
Tier 1, the survival build. Now this costs $300. This is the build you make when you're broke, desperate, or both. And I mean that with genuine affection because we have all been
chat,
here
y'all know
or
I
we
used
know
to have
someone
this,
here.
bro.
And the important thing is that we
That's
don't
because
stay
she is
here.
really
Let's talk about who
involved in
actually
this.
builds a Tier 1.
have you
This is
been?
the
I've been
university
good.
student
I've
who
been
just
good,
moved into a
Maximo.
flat with 4 other people and 1 shared monitor. This is the guy who's pre-built from 2014 finally made a sound like a dying bird and never turned on again. Get a used Ryzen 5600G for about $85. B 450M motherboard for about $60. 256GB SATA SSD for about $40. 450 watt bronze power supply for about $35. Stock cooler included with the CPU, basically free. Basic micro ATX case for about $25 that stores your shame discreetly. Because here's the thing, nobody says out loud, a tier 1 build changes lives. Not metaphorically, actually. The difference between having a working computer and not having one is enormous. This machine gets you off the family laptop, it lets you do coursework without your mom standing behind you asking if you're nearly done, it lets you game even if the games are Minecraft and older titles, at a time in your life when gaming is how you decompress. That matters. The 5600G has 6 cores instead of 4. It is the single biggest free upgrade on this list. If gaming is the only priority, a used Ryzen 5 1600 for about $50 with a used GTX 750 Ti, this will consistently double your frame rates over integrated graphics. It's ugly from a prestige standpoint, it works from a practical one. 8GB DDR4 should be about $15. It is currently $70 to $80 because the market is doing what it does. Budget accordingly, and don't look too hard at why. Total with RAM, about $270 to $290. Minecraft at a solid 60.
Chat. Y'all need to be listening onto this, bro. I'm not gonna be talking too much, but y'all need to listen onto this, bro. This nigga is putting y'all on how to make a fucking PC, bro. He's giving y'all the parts that y'all need to make the best budgeted PC for yourselves, bro.
FPS with mods loaded. Older indie titles, YouTube, Google Docs, browser tabs, Zoom calls that don't freeze. It keeps you in the game. That is the whole point of Tier 1.
Chat,
what it cannot do.
When we play Minecraft, I want to add mods. Like, what mods should we do? Chat? What mods should we do? Let me know right now. What mods should we do?
game. Everything released in the last 3 years should be approached with managed expectations and a willingness to lower settings until the options menu runs out of options. You're eating instant noodles, but you're eating them while watching YouTube on a screen you built with your own hands. That is not nothing. Tier 2, the budget build. This costs $700. Tier 2 is where the personality starts. Tier 1 was survival. Tier 2 is the first time you have a PC that people don't quietly feel sorry for you about. The person who builds Tier 2 usually has a job, not a career, a job they're saving up. They made a spreadsheet about this build, then immediately felt embarrassed, then updated the spreadsheet. They've been on the subreddit for 4 months asking whether to wait for the next GPU generation, and someone finally told them to just build it already, so they did. This is the build that exists in a ground floor flat, probably in a bedroom, that is also an office, that is also a dining room. The case doesn't have a window because nothing inside it needs to be seen, but it runs, it really runs. This is also the build your slightly more financially stable friend looks at and says solid budget build and means it as a genuine compliment. You've made real decisions here. Used Ryzen 5 5600 for about $100 RTX 5060 or RX 9060 with 8GB VRAM for about $300, MSI B550M motherboard for about $80, 500GB Gen 3 NVMe SSD for about $90, Wraith Stealth Stock Cooler free in the box, 550W bronze PSU for about $50 that gets the job done without making a fuss, RTX 5060 for about $300 to $350 if you stream or do anything creative because DLSS for an NVIDIA software ecosystem are genuinely worth the extra $20 in that context. Pure gaming, the RX 9060's 8GB of VRAM wins long term. 16GB DDR4 in 2 sticks should be about $30 to $35. Currently, it is around $80 to $100. Budget $70 to $80, and don't look at historical prices, it will only upset you total with RAM, about $650 to $700. 1080p at medium to high settings with solid 60 FPS and almost everything. CS2 at high settings without the game engine laughing at you. Minecraft with shaders loaded looking like a painting. This is the first tier where you stop apologizing for your PC. What it struggles with 1440p at high frame rates, heavy ray tracing, and anything released in the last year at max settings. The GPU will try, it will just have to think about it a little. Someone asks what GPU you have, and you answer at normal volume. Tier 3 is the Goldilocks zone. It is where the hobby becomes comfortable. You are no longer making hardware excuses for your performance. You are no longer turning down shadows, nudging textures to medium, or explaining to someone why your PC can run it. Just not like that. Everything is on. Everything is high. The game looks the way the developers intended, and you experience it that way. Who builds Tier 3? Someone with a real income and a single large purchase they've been mentally preparing to justify for 6 months. This is the 24-year-old who just got their first proper salary and decided before any sensible adult could stop them to spend a meaningful chunk of it on a PC. Or it's the 30-something who built a Tier 2 4 years ago and is finally upgrading. This machine lives in a room that has a desk lamp, a decent chair, and a monitor they did actual research on. The case has a tempered glass panel because they built something worth looking at and they've earned the right to look at it. This is also the tier where people start lying about what they spent, not by much, just rounding down slightly in conversations. Ryzen 5 9600X for about $180, RTX 5070 for about $600, or RX 9060 XT for about $450. MSI B650MA Wi-Fi motherboard for about $150, 1TB Gen 4 NVMe SSD for about $180.
Bro, what the fuck? SSDs are starting to cost $200 now, Chad. Was I too scared to try and build it? Nah, I just didn't want to. I don't know. I should build it. Like, that's the thing. I want to
Thermalright
build
Peerless
one,
Assassin
like,
120 SE for about $35, 650 watt gold PSU for about $75, Lian Li Lancool 216 with tempered glass for about $90 because you've earned it. The 5070 is the all-rounder. DLSS 4, ray tracing, light content creation, streaming. The 9070 XT is the pure gaming pick at $100 less. It trades blows with the 5070 in gaming benchmarks and sometimes wins. If all you do is game, take the $100 and spend it on games or RAM, probably RAM, 32GB DDR5, 6000 MHz and 2 sticks. AM5 is specifically tuned for this configuration, should be about $70 to $80. Currently $300 to $400. Budget $120 to $160 and build anyway. Total with RAM about $1,100 to $1,300 depending on GPU route. 1080p Ultra without asking. 1440p high to Ultra comfortably. You play Baldur's Gate 3 on Ultra and it loads fast and runs smooth and you actually think about the game instead of the settings menu. That is the quiet miracle of Tier 3. The hardware disappears and you just play. People say that's a solid build and mean it as a genuine compliment, not as a consolation. Tier 4, the advanced build. Now this costs $1,700. Here is where practicality gives way to passion. You could have been happy at Tier 3, you knew that, but you kept watching benchmarks at 2 a.m. You bookmarked GPU comparison charts on 4 different websites, you made a spreadsheet, an actual spreadsheet, for fun voluntarily, and then you updated it. Now who builds Tier 4? This is not a casual purchase. The Tier 4 builder is someone who has thought about this machine more than they've thought about most things in their life, including some relationships. This is the person who can explain what 3D Vcache is at a dinner party to people who did not ask. This is the person whose friends stopped asking for PC advice, not because they don't trust them, but because the advice became too thorough. They have a proper desk setup, monitor arm, cable management, a mouse pad that covers most of the surface. The case is premium, the cable routing is clean, and there is a genuine chance they've watched a video specifically about how to route cables before building. This machine also gets shown off, not aggressively. Just if someone's over and there's an opening, the side panel gets indicated, oh, that's just my PC. It is not just their PC. Ryzen 7 9800X3D for about $449, the best gaming CPU on the planet right now, full stop. RTX 5070 Ti for about $800, or RX 9070 XT for about $700 for the pure gaming route. MSI B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard for about $170. 1TB Gen 5 NVMe primary plus 2TB Gen 4 secondary for about $220. Combined Mag Core Liquid A13 cooler for about $80. 850 watt gold modular PSU for about $115. Case for $150 that looks serious without being aggressive. And if some buffoon on Facebook Marketplace sells you a used B650 board and swears on their mother it's barely used, works perfect, count the socket pins before you hand over cash. Check if it posts, trust no one who uses the phrase barely used for something they're selling.
Get exclusive Mortal Kombat 2 wallpapers for your PC with Bing.
I don't want Mortal Kombat.
Alternative GPU play, the RX 9070 XT at $449 paired with the 9800X3D is one of the most brutally efficient pure gaming combos available right now. You spend $300 less on the GPU and stay genuinely competitive. Take that $300, buy games, upgrade storage, or accept that it's going toward RAM and call it a day. 32GB DDR5, 6000 MHz CL30, AMD tuned the 9800X3D specifically for this configuration, should cost about $80 to $90. Currently $300 to $400. Budget about $130 and hold firm. Total with RAM about $1,700 to $2,300 depending on GPU and RAM. 1440p at high frame rates and everything without negotiation. 4K gaming that is now genuinely viable rather than a pipe dream. You revisit yearly, stream, record, edit all simultaneously without the machine noticing. Push frame rates that will make someone who knows what they're looking at quietly nod. This is the build that makes people physically stop mid-conversation and ask what you spent. You tell them there is a pause.
Once it starts inserting that pencil inside of my little tingle hole, that's when I'm gonna be like, yeah, fuck no. Time to get a new PC. But until then, I'm chilling right now.
They nod slowly. That pause is the whole point. Tier 5, the high-end build, costs $3,000. We are now in territory where every purchase comes with an internal justification. I stream professionally, I edit 4K video, I do 3D rendering for clients. These are all valid, completely valid. If none of those apply to you, I'm not judging. I'm also not judging. There's a distinction and we both know it. Who builds Tier 5? Two types of people. The first is the working creative, the freelance video editor, the small studio animator, the streamer who actually monetizes, the photographer who also shoots video for these people. This machine is a tool that makes them money, and the math is surprisingly clean when you run it. The second type is the person who will never do professional creative work on this machine and knows it in their heart, but has built the justification tower anyway, and is standing on top of it looking out, feeling fine. We're not here to dismantle the tower is fine. This machine lives in a setup, not just a desk, a setup, dual monitors, at least one of which is 1440p or 4K, a proper microphone, because if you're spending this much on a PC, you've probably...
I'm not gonna lie, bro. My setup will probably never get to that level. Y'all will forever see me with this $30 ass fucking microphone, this $30 ass camera, these low render ass fucking monitors, and this low rendering ass PC. I don't think I will ever get to this level of expertise. Even when I do get big and I start blowing up, I'm still not going to get to this level of expertise. We
also got opinions about audio cable management that took an afternoon. A 360mm radiator mounted in the case because it looks correct, and you're correct to want it to look correct. This is the machine you point a camera at when you make a desk tour video. Ryzen 7 9800X 3D for about $450, RTX 5080 for about $1,000, MSI X870E Tomahawk Wi-Fi motherboard for about $230, 2TB Gen 5 NVMe primary plus 4TB Gen 4 secondary for about $900 combined. Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro 360mm AIO for about $100.
Oh, my shit
1000 watt
glitchy?
gold modular PSU for about $160. $200 for a case with good airflow. 64 gigabyte DDR5 6000 megahertz and 2 sticks. Video editing software and 3D tools will eat every gigabyte you offer. Should be about $140 to $160. Currently $600 to $800 plus dollars. Budget $200 to $250 and treat it as overhead. Same as a software subscription except more offensive. Total with RAM about $3,500. Now 4K gaming at max settings without asking. Also 4K video editing where the timeline plays back in real time without dropping frames. 3D renders that finish before you come back from lunch. Stream at max quality while playing at max settings while having 17 Chrome tabs open. And the machine does not notice any of it. Nobody asks what you spent. They already know it was too much. They respect it the way you respect someone who made a very expensive decision and is completely at peace with it. Tier 6, the no-budget build, costs $6,000.
God damn! Nigga, you could buy a fucking motorcycle with $6,000, bro. You could be popping wheelies on the highway with fucking $6,000, but you choose $6,000 to put into a PC? Just for a couple extra more specs?
Of sensible and entered enthusiast maximalism. You're not buying a PC at this tier, you are commissioning a monument. Every component exists because you want the best, you can afford the best, and you have officially stopped pretending otherwise. Who builds tier 6? Let's be honest about this. It's not the person who needs it, it's the person who wants it and has reached the financial and philosophical position where those two things are the same. This is the software engineer who has been putting off a PC upgrade for 3 years and finally decided to do it properly. This is the successful creator who tells themselves it's a business expense, and it kind of is, which makes it worse because now it's justifiable. This is the person in a home office with custom desk legs and a monitor they researched for longer than some people research cars. This machine has RGBs. Probably not because LEDs improve performance, but because at $6,000 you're past the point of explaining yourself to anyone. The case is large, possibly tempered glass on two sides, and sits on the desk or underneath it in a way that makes people think about it when they come over. The PC doesn't dominate the room, it just exists in it, quietly radiating competence and a slightly alarming electricity bill. Ryzen 9 9950 X3D with 16 core for about $700. That wins at gaming and creative work simultaneously, a thing that should require a choice but doesn't. RTX 5090 5090 for about $200, which is in its own tier and will leave it at.
Did that shit just say $2,000? You're lying.
But doesn't. RTX
5090
for about
$2,000 fucking dollars. You're fucking lying. Or maybe he actually meant to say $200. RTX 5090. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my hand! $4,000 for a fan! A fucking fan costs $4,000. What in the right actual fuck would you need this shit for? He said 2,000. It's 4,000 in retail. Like, what in the actual right fucking sense would you need a $4,000 fan for? Graphics card. This is a graphics card. What would you need a $4,000 graphics card for? Please let me know. GPU. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In the next 10 years, this shit is going to be outdated. They're going to find some faster and hotter motherfucking GPU. Something that literally shows real fucking life. This shit's not going to matter in the next 10 years. Niggas who spent $4,000 on this are going to be like, damn, I just spent $4,000 on something that looks shit now compared to everything else. Duh. You fuck twat. Like, bro, what? And then next year, we're talking about next year, this shit's gonna be outdated. Bro, don't waste chat. I want chat to know this, bro. Don't waste your money on shit like this. This is the biggest waste of money I have ever seen. A 32 gig is $4,000 fucking dollars. The regular 16 gig is $2,000, right? It's $2,000, but still $2,000 fucking dollars. Don't ever waste your money on this. Yeah, AI companies buying them for data centers is why the price have gone up crazy. $2,000 fucking dollars though? Fuck all of that, bro. I'm okay with my little PC that's not really, you know what I'm saying?
$100, which is in its own tier and will leave it at that. Asus ROG Crosshair X870E Hero for about $580, 2TB.
A fucking motherboard is $500. So you get the fuck.
Gen 5 primary plus 4TB Gen 4 secondary plus 4TB HDD cold archive for about $1,600 combined.
$1,600. Oh!
Lee and Lee Hydro
For
Shift.
some fucking RAM? I'm pretty sure that was the RAM. For RAM is $1,600, nigga? Like, what the fuck? Leon Lai Hydro Shift
360 millimeter cooler for $250.
Bro, get the fuck.
1600 watt titanium modular PSU for about $600. Leo 1 dynamic Evo XL for about $250, large enough for a future custom loop. If you ever decide the build needs to be even more beautiful, 64GB DDR5 6000 MHz with tight timings. Budget an extra $800 and do not look at the price while you're adding it to the cart. Just add it to the cart and close the tab. Total with RAM about $6,780. Now you can game 4K with full ray tracing while a render runs in the background while a stream encodes and you have a second game open. It processes all of it simultaneously without looking up. The only real limitation is the electricity bill, which at this power draw develops its own personality. You don't need validation, you are the validation. Tier 7, the professional workstation costs $10,000. This is not a gaming PC, it is not a content creator PC. This is a machine that generates revenue, operates without failure, and sits in an environment where downtime is a financial event.
I'll tell you now, no company has a PC like this. No company. No matter what company you go to, they will never have PCs like this. They will really have you working on a $300 mini PC and say, work with what the fuck you got. They will never have you guys.
Rather than an inconvenience.
10,000.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business. With Wix, you can grab
who actually has this machine, not who wants it, who has it. VFX studios doing scene compositing for productions you've watched, machine learning engineers training models that actually get deployed, architects rendering full city block simulations for clients who want to see the building before they build it, medical imaging facilities, research labs, small production houses that bill hourly and cannot afford an 18-hour render to fail at hour 17. These are not hobbyists. These are professionals for whom this machine is infrastructure. This computer does not live on a gaming desk. It lives in a studio, probably with sound dampening on the walls and a desk that cost more than a tier 2 build. It may have its own dedicated power circuit. It hums quietly, very quietly, because the case is acoustically dampened and the cooler is selected for noise floor, not aesthetics, and the person next to it is on a client call and cannot have the machine audible in the background. There is no RGB, there are no LED strips, there is no glass panel to admire, there is a matte black front panel, a power button, and a status light that says the machine is on and running and has been for 11 hours and has no intention of stopping. Ryzen 9950X 3D for about $700. Asus ROG Crosshair X870E Extreme Gaming Motherboard for about $2,400. Asus ROG 360 for about $480 for quiet sustained load management. Samsung SSD 9100 Pro 2TB for about $490, plus Samsung 990 Pro SSD 4TB for about $1,000 plus 8TB HDD archive for about $380. Asus ROG Thor 1600 watt titanium modular PSU for about $950. A case of your choice with Lian Li Infinity fans for about $1,000, designed from the ground up for silent operation. GPU option A for a certified professional, NVIDIA RTX 6000 Pro Ada for about $9,000 to $10,000. 96 gigabytes of ECC video memory, massively higher reliability, and built specifically for certified professional workloads, certified drivers for Autodesk, Maya, SolidWorks, every major professional application. Error correcting memory that checks itself constantly, crucial when a render has been running for 19 hours and a single bit flip would corrupt the output. This is not a gaming card with a professional price tag. It is a different category of hardware built for a different category of work. Buy it only if your software is on the certified list and your work demands the guarantee. GPU option B for mixed use. NVIDIA RTX 5090 for about...
How much you want to say? He's going to say at least like $2,000, $3,000.
$1,999. If your work runs in consumer software, Premiere, DaVinci, Blender, and you would also like to game when the project is done, the 5090 at 1/3 the price gives you comparable raw performance for most creative tasks. This is the right call for the majority of people at Tier 7 who are not running enterprise certified pipelines. 128GB DDR5 ECC memory, error correcting, non-negotiable.
Congratulations, bro. You just spent a car on a fucking gaming PC, bro. That shit is crazy, bro.